So what misguided people like this do with Jesus's word, and they basically they don't understand Jesus's word, and they misinterpret it. Again, just you have to keep in mind, it's all about the heart. Everything with this kind of talk, when they turn Jesus's word into like just how to get rich shit, when it's actually quite the opposite. I mean, there's a reason Jesus said to the wealthy man, give up all your wealth. He didn't say give up part of it. He said give up all of it if you want to please me and walk with me. Yeah, the wealthy will give up a portion of their wealth while they still stay comfortable, right? I think most people would do that. That's the danger of wealth. But that's not to say that God doesn't want you to have wealth. It's just you, again, what people don't pay attention to is what kingdom are you getting it from? I think there's less than 1%. I don't even think there's 1% of the wealthy in the world that truly God is pleased with, or that God has even given them their wealth, blessed them. They would say he did. The danger with what these prosperity churches did is that then it puts people into a category that, well, God must not want to bless you then. What did you do? It's sort of like the book of Job, when Job's friends came around to tell him, what did you do to upset God? And Job hadn't done anything. It was a bet between God and Lucifer that, Lucifer, stormed into the court of heavens and said to God, if you lifted your protection on your good boy Job there that you think is so loyal to you, I guarantee you I could get him to turn. That was what it was. It was a bet. Job never did a thing. But when his friends came around to try to comfort him and didn't comfort him at all, because they're just like, well, you must have upset God because all of this bad stuff wouldn't be happening to you. So what did you do? What's wrong with you? And there was nothing. He did nothing. The danger of the material wealth is that in the beginning, God gave Adam and Eve the crown. They were already crowned. The only condition was they had to follow his ways. They had to follow his will. But he gave them free will because a true, real God would, which means they could go astray. But he told them exactly what his expectations were, crowned them, and wanted them to fill the earth and be dominion over the earth. Then they sinned, and they were casted out of the garden with this instead of the crown, which, for those that don't know, this is like back in the Little House on the Prairie days in school. They would put kids in the corner with what's called a dunce cap. Stupid. It means you're stupid. They don't do that anymore, of course, but yeah, you had to wear, usually it had a big D on it. So they got casted out of the garden, having the crown removed. And so at that point, everything God did from that moment forward was going to be, we're going to have to work from scratch now. We're going to have to work from the bottom up. And that's what I don't think people that are experts in the Old Testament understand. Is what is the goal God's trying to get to? The goal has always been, I want to get my family, because he created you and I because he wanted to be family with us. He wanted to be with us. So because they sinned, now we got to work. It's going to take us a long, long time. We're going to have to, because people aren't going to get it. Because they're going to think their will can get them there. They're going to think their smarts can get them there. They're going to think their intelligence can get them there. And what they're going to learn over thousands of years, and it will only be very few people actually, will realize, no, what you need to learn is that you have to be fully dependent on God. See, most people won't do that. Instead, most people will twist the New Testament, not even understand the Old at all, but totally twist the New Testament when Jesus was anything here about, it was not about material wealth. That is leaning on your own understanding. And it's appealing, right? That's the reason the wicked one does it. That's how he pulls you in, is with that. Am I saying God wants you poor? No, I'm saying he wants you to recognize what kingdom you're getting your riches in. That's a slippery slope. That's why I would guarantee that on less than 1%, maybe 0.25% of people in the world that are very, very wealthy would God see it as a blessing, because Jesus was about, no, you need to learn that everything is dependent on me. This is no longer about what your will is. This turns everything into your will, and then when they wrap God around it, it's even worse, because it's not true. Again, God wants you to have wealth more than you can imagine. He wants you to have all those things that you probably haven't even thought of, but you have to get it in the right kingdom. I showed this earlier, right? Do you see where greed is on there? It's on there. Where is it? Gluttony, guilt, pride, folly, deceit, murder, anger, and ill will. Well, on my other one, it's somewhere. I think it's written on one of the animals. It's there. Greed, gluttony. What, you get what I'm saying, okay? So when Jesus was here again, what was he doing? Was he ever earning a living? No. Am I trying to tell you to quit your job? I'm not trying to. I'm just telling you to start to know God. Okay? Because while this world would tell somebody like me, well, you could have had wealth, you just weren't blessed and you didn't do it right. Yeah, we're God, but I constantly lean on God. God, I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about it, because quite frankly, he needs to strip much away from you so that he has people that truly understand what it is he wants. Because if nobody understands what it is he wants, and everybody thinks it's about this to God, money and him, then you can't receive either. But again, and this was the trap of the Old Testament, and not that God wanted it to be a trap, but what it shows is that their will could make them follow the commandments, make them do the rituals, but it wasn't going to bring them closer to God. But they didn't know any better. Again, this is why Jesus said, don't lean on your own understanding. You have no understanding here. You lost your understanding when you lost the Spirit of God. And even then, once the Spirit of God is in you, you have to keep seeking him all the time, every day, as much as I say that you do. And then he will give you the truth. The more you are ready, the more he will give it to you. And what you will find out is he could care less about the government, okay? Even though, yes, he institutes the government, most all of the laws and the Congress he is certainly not happy with on either side of the aisle, regardless of what anybody says. He's not. They play games. They've just all been playing games and continue to do so. It's not hard to try to do the right thing, but they don't. And this is all a failure of mankind, of realizing that when Jesus came, what we're supposed to realize is, I can't change my heart. There's not enough money in the world that can make my heart transform to please God, because only God can change my heart. And how can he possibly change my heart when I make it all about money? How can I possibly understand? He showed in his life that this is why none of the apostles went on to get wealthy. They never, it wasn't about this world. They understood what this kingdom represented. And yet, I don't ever hear a church mention that. Instead, you got a bunch of stupid churches that started teaching some prosperity bullshit. Not truly understanding God, that your entire life is because of him. So your riches aren't going to save you in the end. You have a temporary fix. What he wanted you to learn is you need to be fully dependent on him for freedom.